Hi, welcome to Z Gadget Review. I have some bad news about the Xbox Series S. That might be the console not to get after all. There are some reports that the Xbox Series S isn't going to be able to run games as well as one will hope for a next gen console. And yes, I know that the Xbox Series S is underpowered, right? It doesn't have as much power as the Xbox Series X or the PS5. But the promise from Microsoft was that you'll be able to run next gen games at least 1440p and that it will get a bunch of cool features that you won't be able to get with the Xbox One X or the Xbox One X. This tweet comes from Capcom, which is the Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition developers. We're excited to bring Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition to Xbox Series X and S. With high frame rates up to 120 frames per second, enhanced 3D audio, reduced loading times, the legendary Dark Knight difficulty, turbo mode, and playable Virgil on both consoles. Fans playing Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition and Xbox Series X will also experience the game in 4K resolution and with DirectX ray tracing. That sounds amazing. Both consoles deliver amazing next generation speed and performance. I don't think so based on what I'm about to read. And while we are just now scratching the surface of what they can do, our teams are eager to continue exploring the full capabilities of Xbox Series X and S in the future. While ray tracing will be available as a downloadable title update on Xbox Series X, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition will not support ray tracing on Xbox Series S. They're saying that the games are going to run great in both consoles. So in the same breath, they're telling us, hey, whichever console you have is going to be an amazing experience, except it's not going to be as amazing on the Xbox Series S. In the same breath, in the same thing, it's just like, hey, this is great. As long as you get it on this one's going to be great too, but just not as great. But that's not the only bad news for the Xbox Series S. There's more. And not just with the Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition title, but with another title. PUBG is 60 frames per second on the PS5, Xbox Series X, but only 30 frames per second on the Xbox Series S. This comes from Eurogamer. PUBG is getting a new frame rate priority mode that pushes the Battle Royale to 50 frames per second with 1920 by 1080 resolution on some consoles. Frame rate priority is added to PUBG alongside the October 9.1 update, which is due out on consoles on October 29th. This only applies to PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X versions of the game, not base consoles. Frame rate priority will also be available when PUBG is played on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, the developer said. After rigorous testing, we are pleased to say that the game performance is extremely smooth and stable, with faster loading and little to no frame drops thanks to the power of next gen, the developer said in a blog post. However, the less powerful Xbox Series S uses the Xbox One S game build, which runs at 30 frames per second. We're working to provide an option to raise the frame rate cap on Xbox One S and Xbox Series S consoles in the future, the developer said. Game 2. That is not going to run as great as the next-gen console game will run, even though this is a next-gen console, technically, right? Has a faster processor, blah, 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 blah. So, but there's another game. And this one I will blame a little bit on the engine, not so much on the console. But still, so this one's about Yakuza Like a Dragon. Apparently, Yakuza Like a Dragon will offer two graphics modes on Xbox Series S. One that runs at 1440p and 30 frames per second, and one that offers 900p at 60 frames per second. Yes, that's right. If you want 60 frames per second, Microsoft Next Gen console won't even be able to hit that 1080p mark. So, okay. Why? So I understand that engine on Yakuza Like a Dragon isn't as good as it should be for next gen games, right? So let's hope that the engine gets upgraded at some point so it can run smoother and better on next-gen consoles. But for a next-gen console to run a game at 900p, Xbox 360 used to run games at 900p. Xbox 360. Why can the Xbox Series S can't even run the game at 1080p? At least 1080p. I get, like the frame rate doesn't allow us to get 1440p and blah blah blah. But at least 1080p. Like, how hard can that be? So what is so this, see, all these examples that I just gave is what gives me concern about the Xbox Series S. I am concerned that the Xbox Series S isn't going to be powerful enough to run games better going into the future. And I understand, like, the PUBG or whatever one of these articles I just read said that they're barely scratching the surface of what next-gen consoles can do. That's true, 100% agree that games are going to get better as development goes and, time to just like any other console that has been around, games start with issues at the beginning, not the greatest that they can be, and then as the console time development goes, games just get better. But to me, the fact that you cannot run a game at 1080p at least on the next gen console, this is just unacceptable. Like, there is no reason for this to be the case on a console that you're going to pay $300 for that is supposed to give you a next gen experience. Then you might as well just pick up the Xbox One X and, play games there until Xbox Series X is available for purchase and you pick one of those up. Because at this point, based on what I'm hearing, the Xbox One S is not worth buying. And yes, I get that you couldn't get a PC with the specs of the One S for the same amount of money and blah, 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 blah. But if I am going to be spending $300, you know what? If I have $300 and I can save up an extra $200, okay, $250 with taxes, let's say, I might as well just wait and save the $250 and then buy the next gen console that is going to give me a next gen experience, that is going to truly give me what I'm paying my money for. Because otherwise, I'm just wasting it. To get a game that's going to have me run it at 900p, to get a game that isn't going to give me ray tracing, to get a game that's going to run at 30 frames per second, this worries me. And so what I'm going to say is, if you're in the market for a next-gen console, do not pick up an Xbox One S. Wait and pick up an Xbox Series X. I am sure that there will be bundles in the future. I am sure that there will be sales in the future. And waiting for one of those to come up is a lot better than to waste $300 and to have a console that you will be disappointed with. To have a console that you're going to be like, oh my God, I just wasted my money on it. $300 is $300. Were you one of those people on the fence between the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S, and this makes you think and change your mind? Let me know in the comment section. That's it for me. Go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Can't tell you how much. Hit that bell so you can be alerted every time we have new videos. And thank you very much for watching.